Hello, my name is Peter Parfitt. Welcome to the new Brit workshop. My dear old electric Beckham bandsaw has gone to a new home. It's still got many years of good service ahead of it, but I needed something just a little bit better. And over the last 2 years, I've seen Axminster develop a new machine, which is in their trade series, and it's the BS11 bandsaw. It's quite small, but it's a very powerful, very high quality machine. But enough of that for now, because this video is about the stand. I couldn't use the bandsaw without having a stand, and so I'm starting with that. Now, the key characteristics for me, of course, it has to be mobile, and I've used castors from Coldene, as always, and these are a new range of castors which they've just introduced. And these are the sort of castors you find on those flight cases, you know, the sort of things you see at pop concerts with all this aluminium sort of clad containers on and amplifiers and things like that. And these are very similar to the standard and style of caster that I've used on my other benches. And then I needed two elements to the stand which were important to me. First of all, I wanted some drawers in which to keep various bits and pieces, and I also needed somewhere that I could keep my nail guns. Now, when I store a nail gun, I like to keep them upright, so their tail, where the air goes in, is sticking upwards. At the end of the day, I put a couple of drops of oil down that tube, and that's the nail gun put to bed for the night. I've got some oil there, and there's more space for more nail guns down here. Now, the construction's fairly straightforward. I've got panels on either side of 10mm MDF. These happen to be veneered, and they're on a frame of oak at the sides, top and bottom, and then there's a frame within here for supporting each level of drawer, and the drawers are very simple. There's no need for any runners for drawers of this size because they're small enough, and they're even able to take quite a huge weight with these planes I'm storing there, and of course all of my nails. This drawer is particularly heavy because all my nail gun nails are in there. So that actually gives quite a nice stable base for the bandsaw. The bandsaw itself is bolted onto the top is screwed to the frame so the two aren't going to come apart. Now, we shot back in time, and I don't at this stage know what the finished result is like. I'll do my best to keep on track. Now, I've dimensioned the stock. It's not cut to length, but it's got the markings on here to say what bit it belongs to. And I'm now going to cut it to length on the capex. Now, let me just say at this point that if you get a set of plans from me, you won't get a cutting list. And the reason for that is very simple. Now, I've dimensioned all this wood up, and actually I've changed my plan to suit the wood that I had available. Therefore, if I'd produced a cutting list before I went through that process, then it would be wrong. And you too will be using wood that you've got hanging around, and therefore you might not end up with the same dimensions of your base pieces that I've done. So no cutting list. Now, I've cut the channels for the MDF in the side pieces using a rebating technique with the Festool CMS unit, and it works extremely well. It's very quick, very efficient, and I think it was 5 or 6 cuts through each, and that did the trick, and it takes no time at all. However, the ends here have been cut through where they shouldn't have been, and the simple way to overcome this is to cut some short pieces of wood, glue them in, and then this allows the joint to be properly made with the domino in a few minutes' time. I'm just going to put a little bit of decorative trim around the edge where the panel goes. It's going to start from in from the corner and end short of that corner. I've marked on my fence here the limit of exploitation, as it were, so that I only go as far as I need, and I've got to make sure I do it on the correct edge. And I've also put a little bit of detail, it's very fractionally deeper than the one on the inside there, just on the outer edge. That will break that corner as well, and that will make it look nice. Now for all the cross rails, that's the ones that go across the front and the few that go across the back, I'm using 6mm by 40mm dominoes. And I've got the trim stop set up now such that it's set to the thickness of the wood, which is 40mm, and I can now position this, and I've marked accordingly, on one of my lines and then do a plunge cut, and that's going to be central to the particular piece of wood, and it's also going to be in the right position up and down. And I've marked them all the same, so by doing the left and right, even if there's a slight variation when I mark them, it doesn't matter. And the bottom front rail is a 25mm thick piece. So I've set the quick stop here on 25. I've retained the trim stop because it'll help me centre on here. And I've also put this additional support piece on just to help me get flat across the top. And my depth is still the same. I'm still on 20mm. And there's that hole centred for that piece of wood. And my two at the top at the front are 20mm thick, and so I've now reset the quick stop here at 20. Everything else is the same. And the bottoms of the rear piece are also at 20. But the top of the rear one is 15, and so I've adjusted this using this sight gauge now, and I've got that to 7.5, which is the centre point. And you can see that that's in the centre there. And putting the slots in the ends of these is an absolute doddle with the trim stop. Now, if you make a mistake with a domino, do not despair. Put some glue in the hole, put a domino of the right size in, use one of these Japanese pool saws, keep your finger pressed on it so it's going to do a proper flush cut. There we go. 2 repairs done, one there and one just there. Guess. Spot on. Now at this stage I'm doing 2 things. I'm putting on these side pieces which help the drawers stay running parallel because they fill the gap between the MDF sides and the space where the drawer is. And I'm also gluing on the cross pieces which go between these drawer supports. That's another one done. And I am of course using the path dogs to make these cuts. Now the way the drawer supports have been done is such that I do need to check that they're sitting squarely, or rather level. And so what I did was I checked with my plan, and I've measured to the tops of each of these. And if I now rotate this, turn this around like so, I can now measure to the tops of each of these and confirm that they're level. And I've then clamped these. There is some glue behind. I'm actually going to put a couple of very short screws. The MDF here is 10 millimeters. My bits of wood at the side is 10 millimeters. So I'm going to use some 16 millimeter screws just in there, just to give it that extra little bit of support in case I've got a heavy drawer or something goes clunk in the night. I'm just putting some edging around the top now. I've got my little extra piece here, which is at 45 degrees, so I can check that the pieces I've already cut are in exactly the right place before I put the screws in. You could, if you like, use dominoes for this, but for me this is a quick and easy way of just securing the wood to the top. Now, in order to hold the top on, I'm going to use screws, and they're going to be put in at an angle so that they tend to come up into the mahogany edging rather than the chipboard, which is the main part of the top. And I'm trying to eyeball an angle such that if I had a screwdriver on the other side, that it would be passing through. Now, just before we get to the detail of the castors, this is the underside, and this is part of the frame for the bottom drawer. And this was made out of 20 millimeter thick stock, but we end up with this little rebate here, which is about 5 millimeters. So in order to allow the two castors, which are at the front, to sit flat, their fourth screw goes into this corner. I'm just sticking a little piece of 5 millimeter thick wood there, just like so. It's not terribly neat or tidy, but it's certainly good enough to hold that in place, and I can then go ahead and fit the castors.